Teacher Rabbi L.M. Dumizulu here. Welcome. Let us deal today with this product, this book, fantastic book, The Creator or God. Fantastic work. This book deals with the issue that is very interesting in human existence today, maybe for the last 2,800 or so years. This book is dynamite. Ancient black people did not worship God. They worshipped and lived traditional lives based on applied laws of creation received from the first ancestor who received them from the Creator. They lived happily with the nature. The only way to convince the indigenous people about a new God and so-called civilized way of life was via conquest, subjugation, and bloody military tactics. These continue today, and they are largely centered on God. They have a God with a name. Our African ancestors' perception, being the original master model, divulges a totally different training. It is the concept of the real creator, the only one who creates out of nothing. Therefore, we must now embark on this journey and divulge to those whose moment is today this serious knowing. Tatenda Siyabonga Ozani. Let's look briefly why you should have this book and what you will gain, what you will study, what you will see, what will happen to your mind if you study this book. First and foremost, the first noble truth, we deal with noble truths. We define what noble truths are. The African ancestors established the God concept, and therefore, he or she was not known as God. We deal with that here in this book. Now, in chapter 1, there are 14 chapters. So we are just going to ramble through and rush through a number of factors. It's juicy, it's dynamite. Chapter 1, the Creator is not God. Thousands of years before colonizing and enslaving man-made religions were crafted, the Creator, now commonly known as God, Jesus, Allah, or Jehovah, was already worshipped by black people in a way that is completely mocked and laughed at today. If you are of African lineage, just remember the following. You cannot know this one and only Creator if you are convinced that Islam is an African religion. If you believe that Jesus died for your sins, or Yahweh is God's name. How can this be? Because your true Creator is directly linked to your ancestors. Your God, in quotation, must look like your ancestor and eventually like you. This is common sense, logical, and true. Propagandizing tools were derived from the one African theological tree, and they are now used in reverse in an attempt to control all black people. Miserably, the majority have been blinded and are at the front defending the religions of the enslaver. Even so, it is clear that there is an unrelenting wave of thousands awakening. Signs are that they rarely slide back to slumber. So once you know the truth, once you know your identity, once you know who you are as an African, as a black person, you won't go back to thinking that you are not. They cling to the noble truths of true identity. The first noble truth is that there is a Creator. This huge discovery was discovered by our ancestors, used to identify the Creator of our ancestors thousands of years before the advent of God, Yahweh, Allah, or Jesus. So this is the cardinal fact about the Creator. So the book is packed. Every chapter is full. Chapter 2 deals with the $1 million question, which is there a Creator or not? So we go into the scientific aspects of this, and we bring in scientists on the questions of origins, books like A Brief History of Time by the late physicist Stephen Hawking is analyzed and critiqued. The question of consequences, of which British historian Paul Johnson deals with, is also brought in. A lot of European scholars are quoted here. A lot of European science is dealt with in this chapter, in chapter 2, and many other sections. Even evolution is also dealt with, but in conclusion, the essence of this chapter deals with what we know as stubbornness of ignorance, in which scientists declare that even if they are given proof that evolution is fake, is a fallacy, is illogical, does not suit thermodynamic laws, the scientists themselves, we quote them here where they say they will never believe anything else than the constructed view that they stand by, which is their science. And then chapter 3 deals with a brand new religion, how it came about. And we go beyond science as we look at the Dogons and their explanation and teachings, which baffled theoreticians as well as the quantum physicists. They thought they knew something, but the Dogons proved to them that they were still toddlers. So this book, The Creator or God, understand it, is an awesome, powerful, mind-boggling, and it will cause a lot of thinking, and it will push barriers beyond anything that you might have known or not. So chapter 4 deals with creation reveals a grand designer. So we continue with that. So we deal with that and go into African science, ancient African science that has been hid and that floats around, and a lot of people hear that and do not know that. So we deal with the births, the 3 births that each one has, the era of counting your age with using 12 months when you spent 9 months in your mother's womb, and also the issue of Ingwendele Ingozi committed to the path of mundane and transcendental levels, concepts of the right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and the right concentration. We deal with that, and also mundane transcendental self. And this was the law, this was the level, and this is the self. We deal with those concepts, and we go in our ancient teachings of Mahati, Ubuntu, not taught by anybody, but taught by our ancestors. We deal with Mahati thoroughly, and the laws of Mahati are given here and demonstrated, all the 42. And then we want to conclude this chapter by looking at the 33rd law of Mahati, which says, I will not commit treason against the ancestors. And so you say, I will not defraud temple offerings. I will not plunder the dead. I will not abuse children. I will not mistreat animals. And this is Mahati, right? The balance, the harmony that we need. We deal with that. Then we go on to deal with the new God man, chapter 5. This book is pegged. Then we got the next, we got this diagram from this website, all right, where we deal with who is God then, and we bring about the African diagram, the structure of the understanding that our ancestors brought, out of which every religion on earth has borrowed. I want to repeat that. Every religion on earth has borrowed and modified this. Every religion. There is not even one. If you find one, shoot an email and show me. Every religion has borrowed from this. Is the diagram, the master diagram. If you master this, you have gone far enough. We modified it here and simplified it here. So we go to the next section. We deal with enter the gods, the 3 gods that have given us big problems. Jesus, Satan the devil, and a God who is called the Father. So we deal with them in these sections, and in this very critical point, we do the transliteration of Yehoshua into Jesus from Hebrew and Aramaic, which is an African language anyway, that then became Greek, and became Latin and became English today, where we have Jesus like that. All right? Exactly like that. And its history, Zeus, and all the concepts, and the council, the synods that European church convened in order to obliterate the African concept of God, and other important authors and writers, and what Hamiti Hebrew ethics teaches, the original foundational truths. And then here we deal with Satan, the devil, another god, and his origin, where he came from, African ancient prophecy or psychiatric prediction, which is the basis of prognostics and basis of all those who say they are prophets. This is the foundation we show here. And we deal with that in ancient African times, the African ancestors that gave us a lot of consciousness, Ausari, Isisu, and Horesu. Akhenaton and his concept of monotheism, and the powerful concept, the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whosoever shall know himself shall find it. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, this book is worthy to be in your library. This book is worthy to be studied and to be read. The chills. It is not an easy book to read because it deals with the concepts of life, the metaphysical concepts. And now we deal with this, the attribute of the creator of our ancestor and ancestors. So we deal with the dynamic premise of attributes. And then our conclusion when we deal with that is that the creator carries only one attribute, and that there are certain properties in our minds that should be bent out and cleared mentally so that the fog we have can be removed, and so that we can be able to perceive the creator clearer. It's there, it's all there. And then chapter 12, there is no eternity for the creator. That's correct. And then we bring again that diagram that we said is the mother diagram, if you want to understand it. Then we come to this battle concept of creation. More here. So we want to conclude by a prayer, and the conclusion is quite telling. And one of the concepts that we deal with is that the creator has only one attribute: creating things from nothing. So we conclude by a prayer here, which we want to share with everybody. Hamiti Hebrew Ethics, we have produced almost 300 videos on YouTube. We have never prayed in public. We do not pray in public. We are not allowed, it's not permitted to pray or to worship in public and take a movie and show it. But this is the prayer which you should do in your mother tongue. The creator of all, who created our first ancestor, grant and give me a heart and mind to believe that I accept in doing Mahati out of my own free volitional will and love. May I independently nurture a heart that admires and applies that perfection of moral wisdom, which fashions a way to preserve the integrity of heaven and yet receive all my needs now here on the earth. I'm astonished and marvel that one so holy should allow me to come on earth and dwell in a clay temple house and gather enough experience to have the love to participate in your single creative attribute. Amen. Thank you. We want to say this is our email. Contact us and grab your copy from Amazon. That's where it is available digital, and this is the hard copy, and we prefer you to have the hard copy. Thank you. Have a great day. Goodbye.